the fear of the Lord is something that comes before wisdom. That you can't really have wisdom until you have a fear of the Lord. But the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge about God. When Proverbs 1:7 says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, what it really means is that it's the beginning of divine knowledge or an understanding of God. But that's the very first step. Even a little child should be able to think about a God who is able to create the entire universe just by speaking, and think, and have that pang of fear, like, I don't ever want to upset that God, because if he can just say something and I pop into existence, what happens if he's upset with me? Can he say something and I pop out of existence? I mean, that's not the way that God works, but he has that power. He can if he wants to. But you can't really understand or begin to understand God until you get past that threshold. People are always trying to make God in their own image when it's really the other way around. And they squeeze God into this box, and they say things like, I can't believe in a God who would do this or do that. Like, well, God exists whether you believe in him or not. So your beliefs are irrelevant. What you need to wrap your head around is that God does these things, and he's got a good reason that you don't understand, and you probably never will. So just accept that he's bigger and badder than you are. And then once you get past that, then you can really understand God, and your heart will be more open for him to put wisdom into it.
Right. Well, I think that one of the things that the way I try to understand my relationship with God, and I think this is kind of easier if you've had a good relationship with your earthly father, is that I think if you say, fear of the Lord, and you hear it, it has like bad connotations to people that don't have understanding, right? They're like, oh, fear God. Like, I thought God was love and all this other bumper sticker stuff, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like, I think about, my dad, since I've had a pretty good relationship with him all my life. And, he's a quiet man. He doesn't talk too much. But, when I was a kid, I truly did fear and love the man at the same time. I feared him because I didn't want his punishment upon me, not following his instructions, but, with time and building relationships with him, right, I understood that, that fear that he put upon me through his words, instructions, or, other acts, in reality it was because he loved me, right? So now when I see him, there's still fear, I guess, to an extent, but it's not, obviously, I'm older now and stuff like that, but there's still that, there's not that fear has turned into love, because I know that he did all those things because he loved me. So when I think about my relationship with God, I think about my relationship with a good earthly father. And I think that in today's environment, it's really hard for people to understand that concept, because there's so many single parents out there. They don't understand what that's like.
Yeah, especially fatherless homes. And yes, that is a huge problem for people in their relationship with God. In a lot of cases, the state or the school or something like that kind of takes over that place of the father, and they do a terrible job of it, because a father should be right there with you. And when you're a little child, and your father is big and strong and even scary to an extent, but you know that he loves you, and so that even though he could hurt you, he doesn't. He's gentle. Maybe you're familiar with the concept of dad voice. It's kind of something jokingly. I don't know if other people use that term or not, but Paula used it jokingly. Sometimes when I had to correct my son, if he wasn't paying attention, I had to switch over to dad voice. And, I can talk normally, and all of a sudden it's like I've got a bullhorn, and you could see him jump, and the tears would start welling, but he wouldn't run away from me. If anything, he would run towards me, because he knows that the whole point of the dad voice isn't to harm him or make him terrified. It's to get his attention, to bring him back to me, so that he will listen to what I have to say to him. And my dad had the same thing. And I don't know if I learned it from him. I don't know where I picked that up, if that's just a common thing that all dads do. But it is kind of, well, it was kind of a joke around here. My son has moved out, so we're kind of empty nesters now. Yeah, this is a really good point. Thank you, Carlos.